Welcome to the first edition of the TOPS 1 New Features video series. This series will highlight the feature changes we've made to TOPS 1 in the most recent release. I'm Nicole Beal, Product Manager for TOPS Software. Today, I'll be walking you through the new features that were a part of the March 2018 feature release. The first feature we updated in this release is the Add New Community feature. Previously, when creating a new community, you only had the options to save the new community and start the wizard, or save the new community and add another one. With this release, we've added the options to start the community setup wizard with the accounting setup, which is how the wizard worked before, or start with the property owner setup. If you choose to just save the community without starting one of the wizards, there will be a notification at the top of the community page, which will allow you to start either wizard at any time. That notification will persist until the setup has been completed. If you start with the property setup, you'll still have the option of importing your properties. We've updated the property setup, so if you wish to manually add the properties and owners, you can do so all from the one setup screen. If you set up the properties and owners first and don't complete the accounting setup, then you will be able to print labels and owner reports. You won't be able to print statements though, because you'll need to set up the chart of accounts and recurring charges to do that. If you start with the accounting setup, then the process is similar to the way the wizard worked previously. We did add the new option to turn cost centers on before importing your chart of accounts. I'm going to just quickly get the chart of accounts ranges in here and just use the default chart of accounts for this community, because I want to show you that you don't need to complete the accounting setup in order to perform accounting functions. So I'm going to navigate away from the setup wizard, having completed setting up my chart of accounts. Now I can perform any GL actions because I have a chart of accounts. I can go ahead and enter or import the budget, or I can create and post a journal entry. I can't do any accounts payable functions because I haven't set up my bank account. And I can't do any accounts receivable functions because I haven't set up my codes. But I'm no longer restricted to having to complete those setups in order to do some of the other things that I want to do in this new community. Our next feature, Deactivate User, is a new feature. We're starting here from the admin page and looking at the users widget. We've paged the user list so that it now only shows the first 5 users. If you had more than 5 users, then there would be an option to page to the next group. We've added a new button, View All, which will take you to the user's portfolio page. We've added filters to this page so you can filter your users by role, you can filter by community list, and you can filter by active, inactive, or both. To deactivate a user, you would click on that user and then under the Actions button, choose Edit User. From this edit screen, you have the ability to change the user's role and community list, and this is also where you would deactivate the user. Click Save to save the change. If the user has open tasks, you're given the option to reassign those tasks to another user. You can either choose a user and reassign all tasks to that user, or you can reassign each task individually. You do not have to reassign the tasks. You can leave them assigned to the deactivated user if you choose. Then click Save to complete the process. Now, when we look at the user portfolio page, that user is no longer displayed. If I filter my list to include inactive users, we will see our inactive user with a description of inactive user. We've updated the late fee processing feature to make it easier to use. We've added a link to the codes page for this community so you can edit your charge codes prior to generating late fees. We've also added a current month only option, so if your community only charges late fees if the current month is outstanding, you can turn that on and TOPS 1 will only provide candidates who meet that criteria. We have also removed the initial potential candidate list from the screen, which really didn't have much value because you need to first set your criteria before the candidates can be properly delivered. We removed the default posting date that used to populate when you entered this function. That way, you can't accidentally post your late fees on the wrong date because you forgot to change the date. Now, if you forget to change the date, the batch won't accrue because there is no date. So, With a valid post date selected, we can accrue our late fee batch. We've updated the candidate list so that it includes the charge code and balance due for each selected recurring charge, along with the pending late fee charge amount. We've added sort options so you can sort the candidate list by account number, balance, owner name, and property address. We've added a search feature so that if you wanted to look up a specific owner to see what their pending late fee charge amount is, you can easily find that individual. There's a new column for hold late fee. This will prevent an owner from receiving late fees and interest charges, so if they are on a payment plan or there's a pending resale, you can prevent that late fee charge from happening. They're still on the candidate list because they do meet the criteria, but the late fee amount is 0. If you click on an owner to view more information about them, that owner's property profile page now opens in a new tab. So you no longer have to worry about accidentally navigating away from the late fee application page. There's that hold late fee and interest flag. You would just edit the property to toggle that off or on. You still have the option to edit a particular amount, so you can make changes prior to posting if need be. And then of course, you post the batch to complete the action. If we go back into this batch, you can see that we've also added a report to this feature. This report can be printed prior to posting or after posting, and it contains all of the relevant information from our late fee batch. In addition to updating the late fee processing feature, we've also updated the apply interest feature with many of the same changes. We've added the link to the codes page so you can edit your charge codes prior to generating interest and remove the initial potential candidate list. We also removed the default posting date that used to populate when you entered this function. We updated the settings so it now remembers from your last posting the number of days and interest rate. It will also remember the selected account codes from the last posting if you charge interest based on selected charges. After we accrue the interest, we receive a candidate list that is similar to the late fee candidate list. We've added the same sorting options and the same search feature here. Clicking on an owner name or property address will open that owner's information in a new tab, and the hold late fee interest flag applies here too. You can still edit an interest charge amount prior to posting. And we also have the Apply Interest Report, which is available before and after posting your interest charges. I should also mention that we are planning on making similar updates to the other areas in accounts receivable, so you should see changes in Apply Charges, collections, and adjustments in future releases. We've updated the Process Deposit feature to add the ability to select all open cash receipt batches for posting. Clicking Select All will select all communities and all batches within those communities. We've also added Deselect All to go along with it. Clicking Select All and then Post Selected will post all selected cash receipt batches. Owner History with Notes. We've updated the appearance of the owner history. If an owner has a prepaid balance, that is displayed at the top of the history. Owner payments now show the total payment amount in a separate column, and you also have the breakdown of the payment along with the effect on the total balance. We've also added the charge detail to each of the charges. We've updated the comment feature as it relates to the owner's history too. You can now change the date of the comment so it can be dated in the past or future. Comment subject and message are the same. Public comment is also an existing feature, but we've updated that so if a comment is marked as public, then it will display on the printed or emailed accounting history. It will also display for the owner in Owner Access. If, of course, you also turn on the new option to show this comment on property accounting feeds. Once the comment has been saved, it displays on the owner history. The comment subject displays on the main view. To see the full comment with the message, you would just expand this item. We've also updated the email history feature, so you can now update the email address that the history sends to. It defaults to the primary email address of the owner, but if you want to email this to the attorney, you can just change the email address here before sending it out. We have also updated the print history feature so that the printed version of the history has the same appearance as the on-screen version. The printed history only includes the comment subject. We've added quite a few enhancements to the General Ledger reports. I'm going to demonstrate these using the detailed income statement. The first feature we added is the ability to consolidate cost centers. This feature will take all amounts that have been split out into different cost centers and roll them up to display one total amount. The rest of the enhancements are only visible on the report export. We've added options for you to show or hide the run date and time, GL account numbers, and the header row border. These were all standard to the previous version of the reports. We've also given the option to export the reports in portrait or landscape view. We've also tightened up the margins and removed the extraneous white space. We gave you the ability to choose a smaller font size, so if you had an issue with GL descriptions wrapping to a second line, using the smaller font should resolve that in most cases. You can choose to not show the GL account number and add a first column border, which separates your descriptions from the dollar amounts. We've added banded rows, which will shade alternate rows on the report, and we've added grid lines, which puts everything into nice, neat boxes. These options can be turned off and on in any combination, giving you endless choices for your general ledger reports. AP distribution to GL report. This is a new accounts payable report. This report will show you the general ledger distribution of your accounts payable items. These items are broken into 3 sections: invoice expense distribution, clearing account distribution, and checks in detail. We've updated the CCR report to give you more options. You still have all the same options that were on the report previously. In this update, we've added quite a few more. We've added new sort options, so you can now sort by close date. We've also added filters for close date, so you can now pull a report of CCR records that were closed during a specific time frame. We've added the ability to include the action table, comments, and record image on the report. And if you don't charge fines for your CCNRs, then we've given you the ability to hide the amount column. You still have the ability to filter by CCNR code, but we've also added filters for account number, lot number, and street. And you can filter using a start and end value or a contains value. With everything turned on, it's a pretty beefy report. But you can see that the image displays for the records with images, the action table displays with the scheduled date and the completed date, and the comments display with the date, user, subject, and comment message. We've added a feature to journal entries which will automatically post a reversing journal entry on a specified date. After you accrue or save your journal entry, you'll receive the option to reverse this entry next period. When you turn that on, you're given a date field for the reversal. The date defaults to the first day of the next period, but you can change that if you want. Posting the journal entry creates an automation job for the reversal. You can view this job on the automation screen. The reversing journal entry is scheduled to occur one time. You do have the ability to edit or deactivate the job if you change your mind about the reversal. We've added a new feature to the template library, which will allow you to search for specific templates. After entering your search term, you can select the template type to search for before completing your search. Here we are, the last feature in this review. We've updated the portfolio pages. These are the pages that list all of the properties or owners within a community, and the tickets pages for violations, work orders, and service requests to allow you to right-click on a card and open it in a new tab. This allows you to create your sorted and filtered list, click into a specific record to see the details in a new tab, and then go back to your original tab with your list that is still sorted and filtered, just the way you left it. That's it, that's all. In case you weren't counting, we just covered 12 new features and feature updates which were part of the March 2018 release. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope you come back for our next release review.